Hey all, Nick's here with another build spotlight. This character died at level 58. I had a micro disconnect where my character stopped moving and then he was dead. Oh no! But I have another similar build plan, but because the build is so similar, I really don't want to rebuild this character, and since I'm not going to rebuild this character, I might as well show him off. The build is fairly simple. It utilizes Lightning Strike and Double Strike, and very, very high elemental damage. You'll see I'm running 5 auras, which means I'm running Eldritch Battery, which is pretty cool. The build is very, very weak early or mid-game, and when I say really weak, I mean this is something you want somebody to carry you through Cruel. So utilizing those public parties will get you a fairly long way. Otherwise, you know, just be smart about your play. This is the point where the build starts to pick up and starts to get a lot better. I'm using Projectile Weakness, which makes my Lightning Strike do a lot more damage. And for the single targets, I just run up and whack them with this this little dagger here. The character didn't get very far, but I'm still going to show it off because I'm not going to remake it. And the build's really, really fun at late levels, but it doesn't get strong until really late levels. So just a thing that you have to keep an eye out for and understand. The build in question utilizes Lightning Strike, which is here. You'll want a quality Lightning Strike because you can get a 100% chance to pierce with Projectile Weakness if you have a 15 or higher. Just be sure to level up Projectile Weakness. You want Lightning Strike linked with lesser multiple projectiles and Weapon Elemental Damage. The other two links on the ability aren't super important. So usually I like to run like a Faster Attacks on it or an added lightning damage or something. I really wouldn't recommend running any other added damage because added lightning scales the best with Weapon Elemental Damage. So there's that. Otherwise, if you are having mana issues, which the Shadow does, there are a few things to take into account. You can slap a Mana Leech on your Lightning Strike, which is what I did to help compensate that. You can also not level your Clarity more than one or two times. This is level 3, and I don't really have the mana to have it reserve more. But fortunately, this works just fine if you happen to get a ring or something with mana regen. This will do your needs perfectly. Other than that, we have Anger, Wrath, Hatred, and then Discipline for mana, obviously, because it's free with Eldritch Battery. And other assorted things, just Skeleton Spell Totem. I love this thing way too much. I don't think I'd run a character without it, just because it's so awesome. And honestly, my dagger has an okay attack speed, but a lot of elemental damage, so that's really nice. The crit chance is really nice. I really like this dagger. It's a shame that I lost it. Oh well. And nothing else is too terribly important. You'll notice I only have 3 links on my Double Strike. I would run Weapon Elemental, Double Strike, Faster Attacks, and then I might consider running some sort of Health Leech on it. I might consider running Increased Crit Chance. All very, very good abilities to have on this if you manage to get a 4-link, which isn't too hard late game. And those all increase the damage of this Double Strike really, really well. You'll also want Weapon Elemental Damage on your belt. You'll want, I don't have it, you'll want Elemental bonus, just raw Elemental Damage on your rings if you can get it. You can also roll Elemental Damage, Weapon Elemental on them, which is okay, but I think raw Elemental is better. And that's pretty much it for jewelry, other than the typical things to note. This build is very, very low on life, so you'll want to get a lot of life on your gear, as much as you can. It will help you a lot, and it will definitely make your mid-game a lot easier. This build is very, very, very weak mid-game, and I'll go ahead and explain why. Here's the skill tree that I got so far. I'll post the final like level 85 skill tree at the in the comments in the video, so you can see what the build is actually supposed to be like if you want to go ahead and roll something like this. But you have been advised that the mid-game is incredibly, incredibly painful because Freezing Pulse starts to fall off in mid-game, so you can no longer use it to level efficiently, and this build doesn't get good until Merciless, so you have to go through Act 2 and 3 Cruel, just kind of being really gimped. But anyways, so obviously mental acuity is really good. we get all the one-handed damage nodes because they're okay. We can pick up fitness down here for life, obviously. These crit chance nodes are really, really good. We want arcing blows because arcing blows is incredibly powerful. Especially with this build when we have lightning strike dealing most of our AoE damage with a ton of lightning damage. And Mind Drinker helps with our Shadows mana problems, which we will have until we get really late game gear with lots of energy shield. You'll see I went ahead and grabbed from the Shadows here because it gives more crit chance. You can leave this off, it's not too terribly important early game, and I would actually recommend going for more health and just letting public parties carry you, or having a friend who's also leveling with you carrying you. Later on we can go down and grab this Adder's Touch node right here, and that's pretty good. So we grab fitness. This Night Stalker node is pretty okay, and I would recommend grabbing it because crit chance is really, really nice. But at the same time, it's not too terribly important early game because you're not going to be dealing a lot of damage mid-game regardless. So your focuses should be getting Eldritch Battery and then doing this whole skill grimmage all the way up here, all the way around, da-da-da-da-da-da-da, all the way down to Inner Force. Inner Force is where the build starts being good. But at the same time, you can't really do damage if you have no life. And you won't have a lot of life until very late game too, because you only have this wheel, this wheel, this wheel, and then this wheel at the point that you'd get Inner Force and Eldritch Battery. So although your damage is going to be getting a lot better, you're not going to be getting a whole ton of life. So I might actually recommend skipping Inner Force and Eldritch Battery in favor of this fitness node, and then maybe heading down here and grabbing this life node here, and then grabbing these Catalyze, this Weapon Elemental Damage, and then this life node here, and then going back and getting Eldritch Battery and Inner Force. And at that point, you should be ready. You should be a decently high enough level to be able to start doing damage. But I was soloing on this character for a lot of it, which means I needed to get a lot more damage to be able to actually do anything. So that's why I'd recommend get all the life you can, 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 more life, and then you can start building damage. Just because the build is very, very weak, because you need a ton of points to make the build work. So for rewards, I would recommend getting health from normal, from Oak. I would recommend killing all of the bandits for the second go, because the skill point is really, really important for getting all those health and damage nodes. You can get the 12% damage node, and it's not a bad 12% damage reward, and it's not a bad damage reward, but I think the point for a build like this, where you need so many points to make it efficient, I think the point getting you online a level earlier is much more important. And then again, I'd kill all the bandits for Merciless, because points, nom nom. So that's how I would handle. That's how I would handle leveling up the build. It's incredibly weak mid game. You've been warned. I would not recommend anybody who is doing their first playthrough on a character to do this build. But Dagger Shadow is really, really, really fun. The build's incomplete here. If you're interested in seeing what the build looks like, I'd follow the link in the comments so you can see the fully fledged build that's scheduled for about level 85-ish characters. And that build is really, really fun if you can get it going. I like the build a lot. You saw a little bit of what it could do earlier in here. I explained a little bit of the... I don't like those. You saw a little bit of what the build can do with an incomplete build before I get the good elemental damage. Whoops. Before I get the good elemental damage nodes, and just basically how the build performs. So, if you have any questions, that's that. Again, the build is incomplete on this character, but I'm not going to redo it, and I kind of want to show it off because I think it's a fun build to do. So, if you have any questions, post them in the comments. I'll be sure to answer them, and I suppose that's all I've got for today. See you all tomorrow. I'll be working on a new character. It's going to be I think probably a Bow Templar. I'm not really sure what I want to do on it yet, but that's going to be that. So, see you all tomorrow. I hope you found the video enjoyable, and that's it. Bye.